Welcome to Track by Track. We are covering Blind Guardian's Nightfall in Middle Earth, the very first Blind Guardian album I heard, and lucky me, because basically it made me fall in love with them. I'd heard a song or two before.
Yeah. I see it, yes. I came into these very late.
The Curse of Fëanor is the one I remember the most. I think I heard it on a compilation album. Right. But yeah, this was the big one.
So this was their 6th studio album altogether. And something I didn't know, but this was also the first album where Hansi was no longer playing an instrument.
Ah.
So he was bassist in all the albums prior, and it's the first one when he was vocal only.
I'm glad he dropped the instrument then, because, you know, focus on your vocals, son. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
it's obviously a concept album.
Yeah.
And it's based on J.R.R. Tolkien's The Silmarillion.
He can say it, I can't.
I don't know the age. There's an age thing with all these. Sorry, the age of Middle Earth.
Yeah.
But it's essentially pre-Hobbit.
Oh, is it pre that shit?
Rings,
oh, okay.
And it's an age of Middle Earth before that.
Okay. Well, the big thing about this, it's 22 tracks long. We're not going for every track. We say track by track, but bear in mind, this is basically lots and lots of, not fill, that's the wrong word, but telling a story.
Yeah, I mean, I think you'd have to be really familiar with the book to understand a lot of what the point of these ones are, and I'm not really familiar with it.
No.
So there are things like a 20 second of this, 20 seconds of that, whereas maybe a little speech. And I think if you love the book, you'll probably listen to that speech and be like, oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, yeah.
Whereas if you don't know the book, you're like, get on with the fucking song.
Yeah, yeah. Well, because it basically kicks off with that. We get War of Wrath, which is basically that.
But yeah, and the longest one of that.
Yeah.
You know, it's nearly 2 minutes, isn't it? Whereas all the other little gaps are like 20 seconds.
That's right, yeah.
This is a 2-minute kind of build-up.
And then well, basically our first track is Into the Storm. Yeah. And it's a brilliant start, basically.
Yeah, it's a great song.
Yeah.
Really, really good. Not a song I particularly cared for first time around. You know, you said this is the album you came into it.
Yep.
I didn't come into Blind Guardian until really late.
Yeah.
And I knew songs of this, but I knew them as like a greatest hits kind of way.
Right.
Do you remember we went to see them at the Forum?
Yep.
I think it was the Forum. And on the way there, I said to you, I don't really care much about Blind Guardian, but I was listening to a few of their hits on the way up. Mirror, Mirror, Sacred World. And I was like, them songs are pretty cool. Let's see how it goes.
Yep.
And then I saw them live. I was like, oh my god,
they're
the best band in the world ever. Quickly download every fucking album. And then I heard this album. Do you know what I mean? But because I'd just fallen in love with a band and I've seen them live and you see the hits live, that's what you do. And I don't think I saw Into the Storm or anything like that. I spent probably the first, God knows how long, listening to Mirror Mirror, listening to, you know, songs like that on repeat before I then started going, right now, I fancy a different one. So it took me a long time to get to some of these songs like Into the Storm. You know, sorry, I know I'm going off on mad tangents there on it, but it is a great song. It's pretty typical of them.
Very typical, yeah.
You know, it's got loads of guitars, man, loads of melodic solos and stuff all over the place. Good chorus.
It's basically, as an opening track, ignore War of Wrath, it's a great fucking start. And quickly we get kind of said, so almost every track is followed by a short interlude. So we'll be jumping over some. The next one we really want to talk about, I guess, is Nightfall. One of their most famous songs and one of their greatest.
Yeah, possibly my favourite Blind Guardian song overall.
Yeah, I could go with that.
It's hard sometimes because their good songs are fucking good.
Yeah.
And like, you know, you can maybe change your mind weekly, almost be like, oh no, this week
is
my favourite. But yeah, it's definitely up there. Brilliant song, man.
we'll you know, this will come up a lot, but basically Hansi's vocals are obviously a lot of the reasons why we love Blind Guardian. And what I particularly love in Nightfall is that every so often in this, he'll add a little bit of sting where it's set normally in the verses, because the chorus is obviously really high and stuff. But in the verses, particularly the latter half of the track, it adds this little bit of sting where it's almost like he's growling, you know?
It's got like little memorable moments in it.
Yeah.
Like I always, like no matter how many times I hear it, that little bit in the last verse near the end when he goes into, slightly different to the rest of the verses when he goes into that, never trust the northern
That's
wind,
it.
never turn your back on.
It's
that little moment and you're like, oh God, that's good.
That little extra bit of bite he puts on that line. Yeah, fantastic. Get excited about it now.
Yeah, I am. Let's just turn this off.
And
We're off to play Nightfall.
Well, when you watch it back, because you will now get a section of that song at this point anyway. My favourite song off the album comes next though. And it is The Curse of Fëanor. And I mentioned at the start as being the first one I heard, and I was very, very fucking lucky with this one. I love this one because of the... I love the word bombastic when it comes to describing a track.
It's like Shaggy.
No, not quite what I was going for. But
Mr. Boombastic.
The fist in the air shit, man. Curse of Fëanor has that.
This is that proper power stuff, isn't it?
Yes.
Like that, punch that fucking cloud, man.
Yeah, basically. Proper lifts you up, man.
I really like. The beginning of this song, especially in comparison to what comes before, it's really quite dark and heavy. Like, you know, it's not. It doesn't come in with high melody or anything like that. It comes in with quite like a crunchy kind of riff.
Yeah.
It's like, I really like that about it. But it's a great song. It's not my favourite song on the album. I mean, Nightfall's my favourite song on the album, to be fair.
It's
but yeah, no, I think it's brilliant. And
really
strong. He moves back and forward from like softer to his harsher vocals.
Yeah.
And he does that a lot in all the songs, but in this one he does it within a verse. Do you know what I mean? So he doesn't just do like a harsh verse, then a soft verse, and then a soft chorus, then a harsh verse.
No, that's right.
In this, he kind of does lines like he goes up and then back
and
down.
It's
again,
all it's a lot
goes up all over the place.
Yeah.
Really, but it's really clever. Very good song, man.
And then we get Blood Tears, which again, like the first half of this album particularly, is so fucking good. Blood Tears, so good.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I personally, I like the song. I think it lacks a little bit of, you know, the magic of some of the ones that come before, like Nightfall, like The Curse of Fëanor.
Fair enough.
I love this. There's a kind of strings intro to it, which is fucking brilliant.
Yeah.
It's not, there isn't a bad song.
That's
the thing.
yeah.
There's no bad song, I don't think, on this album. But because of that, you end up being like, what's the least best
Basically,
song?
yeah.
And this isn't as good as the best.
Well, there are some that further down that I'd get to in that front.
Yeah.
But then we get Mirror, Mirror, which hopefully would need no introduction if you've heard of Blind Guardian.
I mean, I'd probably argue that this song got me into them.
Yep.
I know it was seeing them live, but this was the more familiar song, and then it was seeing this live.
Yep.
And that's the kind of, you know, that sometimes that's when it hits, isn't it? You know a song or two and you see that song live and you're just like, yeah, okay, I get it. I understand now.
The pace.
I love the fucking song. I love this song.
Yeah.
The guitar solos at the end
last
for about 4 minutes and it kind of works in phases, doesn't it? Because like you think the solo's ending, but then it goes into another bit.
That higher bit, that
and it just keeps on going. And you're like, oh, that must be the end of it. And then it comes into another bit, and you're like, yeah, man,
you're killing on this one.
Absolutely brilliant song.
It really, really is.
Yeah.
Okay, now we get some interesting ones. These are the big hitters, as it were, are kind of out of the way, as we then get Nolder, Dead Winter Rains.
Yeah. I think out of all the songs on this album, this is my least favourite.
Yeah.
I remember I wrote down some of the things. So there's some stuff I like. It's got a kind of weird guitar tone, right? It's got a kind of southern twang.
Yeah.
It.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
I get with that.
Which I kind of liked. I was like, oh, that's different. But it's not... I don't know if maybe it's because it's part of the concept, right? And it was meant to sound like this. But when I listen to it, it doesn't sound like in sync. It sounds a little bit like a sort of oddly mixed with like some weird tuning and... You know what I mean? It doesn't just... It sounds slightly odd to me.
Interesting.
I don't know why. It just never really sat perfectly well with me.
One of the things I don't like about it, although I think it's a good song, is actually it goes on too long.
Yeah.
This is one
quite long,
it's nearly 7 minutes long. And I think, I swear, about the 5 minute mark, I feel like it could have wrapped up. They could have cut certain sections out of it and it would have been probably better in that sense.
Yeah.
Whereas you might find yourself skipping halfway through. Whereas... Now, this is a couple I'm going to lump together because I think these are all quality as they are. So we get Time Stands Still at Iron Hill, Thorn, and The Elder. Now, there's differences, quite obvious differences between all of them in regard. But because of, in fact, two of them as well, Thorn and The Elder, there's no gap in between them. There's no spoken word gap in between them.
Yeah.
So you're going to get these these songs. Oh, there is one, the Dark... the Dark Elves in between. Between Time Stands Still and Thorn. But basically you get this little section here that is just a wide array of Blind Guardian music, particularly if you know their catalogue overall. Now, while this can't say contrast to what they do later on and stuff like that, perhaps what they did earlier, it's quite different in that sense. But what you've heard at this point of the album, I think it's quite a nice contrast between them.
Yeah. I've always liked Time Stands Still.
Yep.
At the Iron Hill. Bloody long time.
Yeah.
I've always liked
bracketed.
That. And I like it, I think, because... It has more of the folkish side of things in it than a lot of the songs prior to this on this album.
Yeah.
A lot of it's power.
Yep.
I think up until this point, whereas this song has a lot of kind of little folk kind of diddly melodies that they put into some, not even in the music, in the way that he sings it and the way that he delivers it. But I've always liked it, you know. And for me, being a newish guy going back to this album when I did. That was probably the first real kind of, maybe the Bard song. And then that was the first real kind of, oh, look at the folk kind of sound. That's different. You know, before that, I was listening to them as a power metal band. Yeah. So, I like that song a lot. Thorn, one of my favourite on the album, actually.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, I really like Thorn. I think it's got, again, I find it quite heavy. I think for a Blind Guardian, you know, we're not talking fucking Deicide here.
No, but it's got more meat to the bones.
It's got some good riffs going on, away from just pure like leads and melodies and
yeah.
And like that. The riffs are really good.
I would also argue that it's... I don't want to, it sounds negative. Not the most basic you can get in regards to Blind Guardian's complexities.
Yeah.
And even still, that's still on another fucking level. That's how I sort of see Thorn.
Yeah. Whereas The Elder is different, isn't it? Because this is basically Hansi on a piano.
Basically, yeah. It is.
And I would... This is the thing, right? I like Hansi too much to say that I don't like the song.
Right.
Right? It's quite dark, it's quite somber, it's quite depressing, but I do think that if I understood the Silmarillion, this song would have a huge impact on me, and I don't quite get it.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? It hasn't got any of the kind of power, sort of uplifting passages. It's generally a somber
So you think,
melody. I like it. I enjoy listening to him sing. I enjoy the piano melody. I like a bit of piano. But I don't really quite get it, you know. Maybe I would have done if I'd listened to this before. I'd then listened to songs like other Blood ones, but because I'm listening to stuff like the Bards, I'm listening to them doing melody and all these other ones, and then I've gone back to this, and I go, oh, it doesn't really compare.
So I've got a question. When you listen to this album in full, do you skip the talky bits, or do you listen to them as well?
I skip the talky bits now.
Oh,
I have listened to them, and in the run up to us doing this, I listened to them all again.
Right. Do you think that helps, like, create the
Not-
scene
not-
for Elder?
I think when you listen to it end to end with everything in it, I still don't understand what's going on because I don't know the book.
Fair dues. I get that, yeah. Yeah.
There are some, like, don't get me wrong, some of these, like, they are literally, I'm assuming, passages from the book. You know, it is literally someone's voice speaking out what sounds like a passage from a book.
Yep.
And I'm not going to get that. There is one or two, though. I'm going to see if I can find which one it was. There is one in particular. Oh, God, I'm going to try and find it.
While he's doing that, the next...
Oh, there you go.
Oh, you got
The
it.
Minstrel.
The Minstrel,
Right?
oh, yeah.
32 seconds long.
Yep.
And when I listen to that, that literally sounds to me like it's meant to be the beginning to Curse My Name. That's what it sounds.
Yeah,
It's 32 second long kind of Curse My Name. And I like that. That's pretty cool.
And you're right, yeah, right at the back end of the album, there's loads of them, in fact, because you get like Nom the Wise, Out of the Water, and The Steadfast. You know, the longest one of that is Out of the Water, 44. And the final one as well is just Final Chapter, Thus Ends. And in between that, you get two more songs, which is When Sorrow Sang and The Dark Passage.
Yeah.
Thoughts on either? Like, are they Blind Guardian go-to songs for you? Because for me, the latter end of this album is the one where this part is where I'm probably the least familiar with.
When Sorrow Sang, I would agree. I'm least familiar with it.
Yep.
But only purely because I've re-listened to it a few times to kind of, you know,
Get yourself,
just almost refresh your memory sometimes as well. And I think if you were to put When Sorrow Sang on or something like that now, you'd be like, oh yeah, I remember this now.
Yep.
I think When Sorrow Sang is a brilliant song.
Yep.
And it's really, really good. Picks the pace up after what's a little kind of a downer period. Because
It
you
is.
get the Ballad of the Elder. Then you go into None the Wise, which is 33 seconds of more kind of sorrow and down. And
and
then
you
that
get
comes
this.
in, and even though it's called When Sorrow Sang, it picks it up.
It does, yeah.
It sounds like it's going to be another sad one.
But
But
you
actually
kind of needed
it's
that
quite a heavy
pick
one,
me
picks
up.
the pace up. Good drums, good aggression, another catchy chorus. Probably, I've written down here, possibly the heaviest song on the album. So not as in the straightforward kind of like head-banging section. That section where you can actually, this is a pitting kind of head-banging song or section of a song. Dark Passage that's the right one I'm on, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right. I do mean this, and I hate the fact that I mean this, but this is one of the few songs on this album that I actually don't like. So it's not a case of it's one of the least favourite. It's probably the one on the album I say like, oh god, not a fan of this one.
Not a fan of this one.
Yeah, I don't like it. It has moments, it has usual stuff from them. There's some bits of good vocals, some great drumming, some great solos, and all that. It just doesn't really have that power, magic, fairies, and you know what I mean. It's not catching me. It's just like it's bland.
I always thought it was like this, right? They had the sections they wanted to have, and they needed a song. So they went to their B-sides of this album, the stuff that will hit the cutting room floor. And we're like, we need to put something in between because it's all just passages at the end. Yeah. And there's an argument that actually kind of rings true, considering how many passages actually appear in this latter part. The fact it's 22 tracks long.
Yeah.
There's more passages at the end than there are at the beginning. And they needed a track, and we're like, okay, which is the least worst one?
Yeah. I mean, it's possible. The other way of looking at it, though, and this is one of the things that I think sometimes hurts a concept album, is that if you're writing a concept album and you've got a story, then you have to cover these elements, right? You have to. So that you can't end on Mirror Mirror,
No,
for example, because that's not the story. That's
no,
early in the story.
no, you've got to have it.
Do you know what I mean? And it almost forces you. So we talked about it on like our Obsolete video, which people can go and check out. But Obsolete benefits from that, because it made it spread out, Resurrection and Descent and everything out. Whereas on here, it seems to have gone the opposite way. In fact, and I although weirdly, I think I must have been listening on my phone to a different version. You know, where you get additional tracks.
Yep.
Because I have another ending track called Harvest of Sorrow.
Right.
Which might be on a different version.
Re-release?
Possibly. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a 23rd track on a 2007 re-release called Harvest of Sorrow.
But this is much in the same way as A Dark Passage. This isn't a very good track. This is it's a shortish, dark ballad. Bit of melody and enjoyable music, but not one I would ever really go back to.
Okay.
And I ended with, I know a concept has to go in order, but it's a shame that these last couple songs are the last ones, because you kind of want them to go out with a bit more of a bang.
Bang, yeah.
And I think the last 4, maybe from track 19, even not including the Harvest of Sorrow, it's tying up the story rather than the best songs on the album.
Yeah, finishing off the album.
I think sometimes if a band were just going like, you know, we're going to make an album, they wouldn't lay them out that way. They go, no, we don't want to end on that one. That's a middle track.
Yeah.
Let's give them Nightfall as the big ending, something for them to go away with. When you do a concept, you can't do that. You're stuck.
Yeah.
You are. The story has to go in order.
Well put. There we go. There's our track by track of Nightfall and Middle Earth Blind Guardians. Let us know what you think in the comments. If you think we missed something or we misunderstood something or you disagree with our thoughts.
Or agree.
Yeah. Check out some of the other videos, other track by tracks, and all the range of content we've got on it. We are, of course, GBHBL. Thanks for watching.